Hello and welcome to Blue Army TV. I'm sitting after Carlisle being beaten 1-0 away from home at Tranmere Rovers in a game that puts Carlisle 6 points away from safety and what might be an incredibly important game come the end of the season, especially with results once again not going our way. You know, Harrogate won, there was a few other teams that won like Accrington and, you know, obviously Tranmere, who we were hoping to catch up with today, beat us today, putting them 3 points further along. Swindon are now the closest team in terms of closest to the bottom. Obviously Morecambe are closer to us. But yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not even as angry as I was last week because I really expected it. You know, Crewe, we got given some hope by going ahead. Today it's just disappointment. Today it's just hopelessness. Today it's just, I just feel so deflated after watching that. I can't seem to understand where the points are coming from. If not today, where are we getting the points from? We've been beaten by Morecambe now. You know, this was supposed to be an easy run of games for us. We beat Accrington, but the rest of the games we needed to win, Morecambe and Tranmere, we've lost. And I can't blame who's at fault for this. Who's at fault for this? And I can't think of anything else other than the manager. Yes, obviously the players were terrible today, and I'll continue saying that the players have such a weak mentality because look, you could see it today. You could see the lack of confidence, the lack of belief in the team, because when we went 1-0 down today, we just completely fell apart. We just completely capitulated, and after we went 1-0 down, I didn't think at any point that we were going to get back into it because we played well for the first 10 minutes, as we always do, until we concede, and then we just completely fall to pieces. You know, I mean, just look, the goal today, I've seen a lot of people blaming Harper, but at the end, and he didn't do great. I personally think Mellis should have done a lot better as well, but, you know, we're never going to go through the season conceding no goals. I think it's a deflection coming into the box and it falls very nicely for the Tranmere man. There's them kind of goals are goals we're going to concede. We're going to concede goals like that. You know, it's not completely avoidable. But look, it's not a goal I'm hugely furious about because it's not a huge individual mistake from anyone involved. It's the kind of goal that every team will concede at this level. What really annoys me is after that we just completely abandoned everything that was going well for us. We were creating stuff, we were passing really well in the first 10 minutes, and we just completely abandoned any sense of that after the first goal went in. And look, one thing I want to talk about is the manager, and you know, one decision in particular that I couldn't get behind is going into the second half. For some reason, for the 15 minutes before Harper came off, he swapped Harper and Mellish. Why is Mellish left back and why is Harper centre back? What is the thinking behind that? I can't think what even is the positive of that. What is the decision making in that? What is the idea? Is it to try and get Mellish to push forward a bit more, which he was doing anyways? Is it to... I don't know, I genuinely can't even think about what the mentality behind that is. What is the end result? If that had gone perfectly as planned, what would have gone well? What was the plan in that moment? What was the plan behind that decision? It didn't work, obviously, because nothing the manager seems to do, but it's just another case of playing people out of position. And I think that really needs to stop. Yeah. It's very rare I'm lost for words, but what player today finished the game in the position they started? Just play it. You don't want to go back to this because it goes against everything Mike Williamson's trying to do, but go to a 4-4-2. Go to something simple. Go to something basic. Because, you know, when we're playing a team like Tranmere, who are worse than us, they're a worse team, you know, I hate saying this, you know, a worse team on paper than us. Stop trying to overcomplicate it. If we play to our strengths and we play a normal, bland style of football, yeah, it's not going to be as exciting, but if we play, just do the basics properly, pass well, two up front, then, you know, I think we probably win that. I think if we just do the basics properly, we'll fly straight up the table. I don't understand the decision making at all. And I'm not talking about like under Beach, under Stephen Presley, you would think, oh, we need to stop starting him. You need to stop doing this one particular thing. With Mike Williamson, it just seems to be every single decision he makes is wrong. And you can argue that, look, obviously I know he's a lot more qualified than me. He's a lot more experienced in football than me. And obviously you would trust his decision making over mine and over most of the fans today. But go to the games and just see, why is it that everybody in the ground can see that this isn't working apart from him? He should be smarter than us. He should be more experienced than us, which he is. He should know more about the game than us, which he does. And it baffles me. Why is he watching the same thing every single week and trying it over and over again, expecting a different result? I don't understand it. We had two debutants today who I kind of thought would have a bit of an impact on the game. They didn't. Embleton and Whelan. And look, I don't think that was in any fault to do with them today. I think both of them, I'm not going to say they're our best players today, but they certainly weren't the reason we lost. I think Embleton was a little bit missing in the game today, and I think that's because we played him a bit further forward, and anyone playing in a forward position at Carlisle sees very little of the ball. But Whelan in particular, I think he did some things right. He was on corners towards the end of the game, which he didn't do particularly well at, but that's not his role. Some of his passing today was good. I liked Whelan. I liked him today. It wasn't quite the huge change that we need, but I did like Whelan today. And Embleton, I think in little bursts, there's a pass forward to Armstrong, I remember, that I think he did particularly well with. But yeah, it's the fans are singing "You're getting sacked in the morning" to our own manager, and we can only hope. I don't think it's going to happen. In fact, I think the decision now would have to be to stick with him, because as much as I don't think he's the right fit, and I don't think he's been the right fit since we got him, he's the only option now, I think, is to stick with him, because what can you do now? What happens if you bring a new manager in now? What can he change? I don't see, unless you are going to go back to basics with a 4-4-2 and just try and grind results out and just try and get yourself further up in the table. Because there's an argument to be made that if Williamson was given a summer transfer window, and if he was given the players that could suit his style of football, he's got a pre-season to put this into the players, to drill it into the players, then maybe we'd be doing a lot better, and we probably would be doing a lot better. But you can't do that mid-season. I saw somebody compare what's happening here to the Man United situation at the minute, which I think is a fair comparison. In the fact that there's a overpaid group of players who can't play the manager's style of football, and a lot of the pressure's being put on the players, and I agree with that, and I do agree with that. I think there is a lot of similarities there. However, with Man United, there's no way they're going to go down, and you can afford time to make them changes, to kind of drill the players into that and to kind of change things slowly. Whereas with us, if we don't get things right very, very quickly, and if we don't start to get results very, very quickly, then we're going to be down. And some would argue we already are. Obviously, we're not mathematically, but mentally, and the gap now that's starting to build up between the teams, between us and the teams above us, the consequences of doing the same thing that they're trying to do at Man United are a lot bigger for us, because look, in my lifetime we've never been out of the Football League. We've always been too big to go down. We've always been too good to go down. We've always had players that wouldn't let us go down. We had some real leaders in the squad, which I don't think we have now, that would drag us into games, drag us through results. Look, we've had some poor teams in the past. Just think of some of the teams that we've had some poor teams. But we've always had a leader like a Danny Granger or someone like that to pull us out of it, to pull us through it. And we've always had quality in the squad that would pull us through it. And I just don't see who that man is now. I don't see who's going to drag us through that. And look, it's hopeless. I genuinely think it's hopeless. I don't see how we fix it, apart from going back to basics. But I just can't see that ever happening under this manager. I'm lost. I don't expect things to get better anymore. I come into Carlisle games now expecting to get beat, and more often than not, that's what happens. But yeah, the manager's decisions are poor. The performances from individuals are poor. And and more importantly, the relationship between the fans and the club now are incredibly poor. And something needs to change. Something needs to change, because if we go down to the National League, there's a very big chance we don't come back up for a very long time, because, you know, we've been in this position before. Learn from the past. That's all I'm going to say to people. Learn from the past. I remember being in exactly this same position last year, where you're thinking, oh, we're 6 points off safety, but if we win this next game, then it's only 3 points. And then, you know, trying to make these mental, you know, mathematic equations and trying to make these mental gymnastics where you're trying to figure out a way to be positive. You're trying to be positive because you want to be positive, but every source, every light at the end of the tunnel seems to be getting dimmer, and every way out seems to be, you know, getting harder and harder and harder. And last season, the saving grace was, oh, if we go down, we'll come straight back up because of the money we've got, because of some of the quality we've got, because of the manager we've got. And I beg people to not get into that same mentality here, because it's not going to work like that. Learn from last season. Learn that this is exactly the same situation, nearly exactly the same as what we were in League One. We stuck with the manager then, it didn't work. And we're going to stick with the manager this time just to try and get us out of the National League. And I can't believe I'm saying that, because it sounds mad. But I watch the game, and it doesn't even seem as if the players know the situation we're in. There's no desperation to get out of the position. There's no fight. There's just nothing to see. You're watching that game today, and it's like, look, people failing to make 5-yard passes. You know, players just booting it out of play in the last 5 minutes there. You know, when you're in the position you're in, and when we're playing such an important game like that, I know the players don't have the table up like I do. You know, looking at the other results, seeing how many points we're going to be off. But surely they know that's a big important game, and surely they know how dangerous losing that game is. And it just seems like they didn't care towards the end. You know, where's the fight to at least get an equaliser? Where's the desperate crosses into the box, getting everyone forward, trying to desperately get a goal back? Because it just doesn't happen. There's no desperation, and it just seems like, and people have said this so much, it seems like we're sleepwalking into non-league. Nobody seems to be desperate. Nobody seems to be grasping the position we're in. We're going to go down. We're in a relegation fight. And, you know, that's a very, very, you know, strong word. I wish we were in a relegation fight, but I can't see a fight. We're in a relegation slump, because we're slumping down into relegation, and there's no fight from anyone, and it's so frustrating. You know, people go into these matches, and I've been to a lot this season. I've been to every home match, and I've been to quite a few away. I don't go into games expecting anything different. The mentality of the players is so poor, and as a result, there's not really anything for the fans to cheer about. And, you know, the PA recognise this, but the potential of this club, if you look at the fans we get at games, home and away, it's being squandered. The potential of this club is dying out, because if we go down in the National League, attendances are going to drop, and rightfully so. And it just seems like that seems very unavoidable now. You know, League 2 this season isn't a strong league. Think about the season when, I just remember, I think we finished 10th. It was when Stephen Presley came in midway through the season with John Sheridan, at the 2018-19 season, I think, when Notts County and Yeovil went down, one of which hasn't returned. I always remember thinking that was a really strong league. I think if this team was playing in that league, we'd be on single figure points. We're in a very weak league this season, and we're the worst of the worst. And something needs to change massively. Is the decision to sack the manager? I thought it was, but it seems like we've left it too late now, and we've backed him in the transfer window. But if we can't beat a team like Tranmere, if we can't beat teams like Morecambe, where are the points coming from? because it just looks hopeless. It just looks desperate. And it seems like the players don't care, and that's a really, really dark place to be in. And I think a lot of the fans feel the same way. But yeah, and I'm gonna pose a question to the fans today, to the community of the Blue Army TV channel, because I don't know where we go from here. Please leave a comment and let me know what you would do now if you were the Piatex now. And I know some of the owners and some of the people at the club watch these videos, so I'm just going to put it out to the comments today. If you were the Piatex, if you were the owners, what would you do differently? What would you do now if you're in this position? You know, you're coming home from watching the Tranmere game today. What do you do? Because I seriously don't know what I would do. Apart from make drastic changes to the managerial staff, but again, that doesn't look like it's going to happen. Yeah. But anyways, let me know what you think. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and in a bit.